Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents Stories. Today we have a very special episode for you, a compilation of some of the greatest entitled parent stories we read over the past year. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a few hours of the most entitled parents you've ever heard of. And by the way, Karen assured me that if this video gets 1,000 likes, she won't try to speak to anyone's manager for an entire week. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. And become an official member of the Re-Army today, and I'll give you a shout out in an upcoming video. r/Entitled Parents. Entitled Mom thinks I'm 16 and takes the keys of my Nissan R32 GT-R because her baby likes it and damages it. This happened a month ago before I discovered that r/Entitled Parents exists. I am 21 and clearly old enough to drive a car. I've been a car guy since childhood, playing Need for Speed and GTA during my childhood. I had recently bought an imported Nissan Skyline R32 GT-R from Japan and imported it to the US. The story goes that I went to my college and was returning with my girlfriend, and we stopped by McDonald's to grab a bite. I finish my meal and head to pay the bill when I see that my car was being raided by a kid. I asked my girlfriend to pay the bill and go to the kid. We've got entitled mom, we've got the police officer, we've got girlfriend, and we've got entitled kid. Me. Excuse me, but can you stop trying to sit and stand on the hood of my car? Entitled kid. I am sorry, can I play with it? No, you can't. I'm sorry. So, can you start it up and show me? Fine. As many kids of their age like cars, I said okay. I proceeded to get in. When boom! Entitled kid pulls me back and jumps in my car, closing the door and locking it. Hey kiddo, get out of my car! He refuses, so I pull him out by unlocking the door with my keys. But when I pull him out, a lady comes storming and yelling towards me while my girlfriend comes out from McDonald's. Entitled mom. Hey, what are you doing to my baby? Are you his mother? Yes, I am. And why were you trying to pull my baby out of the car? Girlfriend. What happened? Me. This kiddo got in my car and wasn't getting out. My girlfriend is hot-headed and just yells at the entitled kid. Girlfriend. What the heck, you little piece of crap? Stop it and get out. Entitled mom explodes. Hey, watch your language in front of my baby. Me. You should stop and teach your kids some manners to not get in other people's cars. It's not your car, so what's the big deal? Actually, it is mine. I show her the keys, which has the iconic Nissan logo. She was surprised, and entitled kid says, Mom, this guy won't let me drive his car. What? Why are you not letting my baby play with your car? Me. He's probably like 12, so I can't allow him to drive. Shut up. You are also 16, and you are too young to drive. I have kind of a baby face, so many people think that I'm a teen. Girlfriend. He's not 16, he's 21. Entitled mom. You shut up. You're too old to be dating him. Girlfriend. What? Entitled mom. If you give this car to me, I will let you two go without telling the police, and I will give you my car. She points to a messed up Nissan Altima with its headlights missing. Me. What? No way will I trade you my car for that piece of junk. In fact, if you give me an expensive car, still, I would have refused. What's the difference? It's still a vehicle with 4 wheels. My car was $24,000, and all the modding and wraps was $13,000, making a total of $37,000, while her car was $15,000. I don't know the price, just assuming by the looks. I am a single mother. Can't I enjoy life? I don't care, but I won't give you my car. While we were arguing, entitled kid was hovering over my car, and while doing so, he slipped and bumped his baseball bat on my door, and it left a huge dent and scratched my Mikasa wrap. Me. What the heck? You little jerk. How dare you ruin my car? Hey, stop yelling at my baby, you jerk. Me. Clara, let's go. I'm done with this. When I was about to leave, entitled mom grabbed my keys and was about to pull me out when my girlfriend grabbed her hand and twisted it behind her back. Ah, help! She is assaulting me. Just when this was happening, police officer came, assuming that someone must have called the police hearing the argument. Police officer: Ma'am, is everything all right here?
No, he's trying to steal my car, and his girlfriend is assaulting me.
Ma'am, I request you to please hand over the keys and stop holding her. Girlfriend lets her go, and entitled mom stares at me with entitled kid beside her. Me: No, sir. I am the owner of this car, and she was trying to steal it from me.
He is clearly lying. See, he is not old enough, and this girl is dating him.
Girlfriend: Shut up. Police officer: Ma'am, please calm down. Sir, can you please show me your license? Surely, sir. I hand over my license. Ma'am, this clearly states that he's 21.
No, it must be a fake one. He doesn't look like he's 21. Also, he tried to steal my car, and when I resisted, his girlfriend assaulted me. See, I also have its keys.
Me: No, sir. It was self-defense, as entitled kid snatched my keys and was forcing me out. Show me your papers, sir. I show him my papers, which had my name on it, which he read aloud.
No, they must have made a fake one, as he has been following me for days to plan out the theft.
I will check it through the database. He proceeded to go when entitled mom tried to stop him, making excuses, but he still goes. These are 100% legit, and the car is registered to his name in my database.
No, your database is wrong. Now just do your darn job and arrest these two.
We further show him the footage through my anti-theft cams on my car. This clearly shows your so-called baby sitting in his car and you stealing the keys. Police officer handcuffs her and she pushes him, but he still restrains her, taking her to his squad car. He asks me if I want to press charges, to which I give him a straight yes, as her baby damaged my car. I don't know what happened to entitled mom, but entitled kid isn't going to be getting his mother back. I'm going to court next week with my girlfriend to give our statement. We'll give a follow-up story with what happens to entitled mom and entitled kid later. Entitled dad and entitled kid break my friend's new phone. So my friend and I are like best friends. He had his birthday last week and celebrated it with us yesterday as we had our exams. He had invited me along with a few other friends. So we were all sitting at Pizza Hut waiting for the pizza we ordered. Basically, he ordered what he wanted. And during that time, he opened a gift given to him by his parents. It was a 1 + 7T. He started jumping with excitement. Now, here comes entitled dad and entitled kid. They weren't with us and we didn't even know them. Entitled kid saw my friend excited and was eyeballing his phone. Entitled dad saw this and walks over to our table. Entitled dad: Wow, that's a nice phone. Do you mind if entitled kid can hold it and see it, as he is also getting a new phone and wants to decide? My friend gave it to entitled kid without any second thoughts. When it happened, entitled kid held the phone in his hand and made a small clicking sound from his mouth and threw the phone on the ground. The whole party went silent and friend exclaimed, "What the heck?" Entitled kid: "Dude, chill, it's just a phone. Also, it's no good." To his dad: "I want an iPhone." I picked it up to see the screen had cracked. The throw was pretty hard. Friend, holding back tears: "What the heck did you just do? Didn't you see that it was new and I had just opened it? Why would you do that?" He is a timid person. Entitled dad: "It's just a phone. No need to be such a baby about it." Entitled dad goes to place his order, and friend sits back down, crying and calling his parents. We all were consoling friend, and we couldn't do anything. Luckily, the worker saw all this and asked entitled dad to share his contact information so he can pay, or he would call the police. Entitled dad rudely tells him to mind his own business. The worker reaches for the phone. Seeing this, entitled dad gets scared, surprisingly, and offers $50 for a $599 phone. By this time, friend's parents are here, and friend's dad asks him for $600 or he will call the police. Entitled dad grudgingly pays for the phone to avoid police drama. That's the end. Friend got a new phone, and very surprisingly, no police were involved. After reading a lot of stories here, I thought that this was going to turn out as one of them. Thanks for reading, y'all. Goodbye and stay entitled parent free. Next we've got entitled mom left her kids in my cafe while she got Botox next door. I work at a popular cafe in a very wealthy area of town that is next door to a medical spa that does things like lip injections and Botox. Two children walked into my store unattended. I thought their parents must be somewhere inside or still in the car. Maybe they were being dropped off to meet a tutor? I wasn't sure. There was a boy who was about 8 and the girl who was about 5. It became very apparent that their mom and dad were not in my cafe as they began running around the lobby together, dragging chairs across the floor, knocking items off displays, digging their hands into the sweeteners at the condiment bar, etc. Eventually, the pair came up and sat at one of 3 bar stools at the end of my bar as I was making drinks. They started asking me for hot chocolates. I told them if their mommy or daddy bought them a hot chocolate, then I would be happy to make them one. As if on cue, the little girl started screeching at the top of her lungs, and the little boy began pounding his hands on the countertop and yelling that their mom promised them a hot chocolate and that I had to make them one because she told them I would. The little girl started crying and trying to stand on the bar stools. I told her to sit down before she hurt herself. I asked who they were with, and the boy said his mom brought them. I asked where she was, and they told me they didn't know. I told them to sit down and sent my coworker to ask around to see if she could find their mother. I continued making drinks, and the boy kept shouting at me and demanding hot chocolate. His sister was a blubbering, crying mess who would alternate between sobbing, hiccups, and flat-out screaming. This woman who was waiting for her drinks told the kids to be quiet and also asked where their mom was. The girl said something like, "Getting her face done," and the woman said, "I'll be right back." This woman straight up marched into the med spa and, according to an employee there that I know, apparently chewed out this mother and berated her in the middle of the appointment for leaving her kids in my cafe. The entitled mom put up a fight about it, so the customer came back in the store and called the police in front of me. Meanwhile, both kids are now standing on the bar stools screaming about hot chocolate. Even if they weren't brats and I felt like giving them hot chocolate for free, I can't do that without the parents present. The police showed up just in time to see the 8-year-old boy fall off the bar stool and hurt himself. One officer went next door and forced the mother out mid-appointment and brought her into the cafe, and she immediately started screaming at the first woman for calling the police, and then at me and my coworker for letting her son get hurt. The second officer went off on the entitled mom, who said she felt she was in the right because I wouldn't be gone long, and I didn't leave them unattended. There are employees here to watch them. Lady, I am not getting paid to watch your kids. I'm getting paid to serve coffee. The girl kept crying about hot chocolate, and the mom was like, "Wait, you didn't give them hot cocoa?" And I was like, no, you have to pay for that, and I can't give kids drinks without parents' permission. What if one of them had an allergy or was diabetic or something? And she started screaming about how she shouldn't have to pay because they are kids, and we should have just been nice. The officers eventually made her stop and took her outside. I saw them writing something out, but I don't know if it was a ticket. I'm not sure what happened after that, because I decided to take my lunch and went out the back door to avoid her. Next we've got, customer was cool. A manager tried to fire me. Around 20 years back, I worked in hardware support for a corporation. Desktop and server support, physical network installs. Heck, I even did phone system punchdowns. This matters. I am on my way home when I decide to swing by my local electronics and media store for a DVD set that had just come out. It had a cool figurine with it. Unfortunately, my favorite color is blue, and I had on a blue blouse. I had on slacks with my tag and key card flipped into my front pocket and a wee wallet stuck in there. Went in, grabbed my box set, and I am heading towards checkout when an older man asks if we have this network cable in longer lengths. His card is just filled with different lengths of cable. His son and him were setting up a local area network. I told them I didn't work there and then added in that if they wanted to save some bucks, they could make the cables themselves, and went into a spiel about how to do it and what to get. He was super excited. Cool. I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around to see some guy with a button up and a manager's tag on. He was smiling and polite and asked me to come with him. Said he needed to ask me about something, so I went. Got to the area where the bathroom and the water fountains were, and the smile dropped. Apparently, he had just started as the assistant manager 2 days before and had been waiting to talk to me. The exact wording is lost to time, but apparently he thought I was someone named Amber who worked there, and since I was late again, as well as advising a customer against a purchase, he was going to have to let me go. Apparently he missed the "I don't work here" part. I explained I didn't work there, and as I was doing this, he interrupted me to ask me why I wasn't wearing my tag, which he would need back. And he reached down and grabbed my tag, which was attached to an elastic clip. He pulled. I dropped the DVD set. Crack, and out came my tag, keycard, and wallet. So I cursed loudly, because he is standing there holding a tag that clearly does not say Amber and is bleeding all over it. He apparently cut himself when the clip snapped to him, at which point he says something about me scratching him with my nails. Of course I didn't have any because of work, plus I never even touched him, and walks through the doors, still holding my tag and keycard. I scoop up my wallet and went after him. He snatched a phone off the wall and is calling the police. So I'm yelling at this point, "Dude, give me my tag back, idiot assistant manager."
I was just assaulted.
Of course, I freak. 911 operator probably thought he was being assaulted by the way I was yelling. Finally, I calm down and just stand there with my arms crossed, refusing to move with him holding my tag over his head like I am 5 years old. Police show up and we both tell our stories. The older cop pulls him off to the side, then me. Finally, both the cops, him, and I are all standing there. His story seems that I was trying to steal the DVDs and I had assaulted him when he tried to stop me. The older cop simply asked him, "Why are you holding her tag?" The assistant manager looks down at his hand and starts stammering that he took it so I couldn't leave. Manager has now shown up and I tell my story again. He looked like he had swallowed a bug. Cop asked about the employee, Amber. Sure enough, she was already on the floor. It seems the fact that I knew Amber had a habit of being a few minutes late convinced both the cops and the manager. I did press charges. If he had done that stupid crap and then had just apologized, it would have been one thing, but he was clearly feeling big, and when he made a mistake, decided to lie. Next we've got, I am not a guide for haunted attractions. Last night I went to a haunted attraction with a friend. We were wearing our skeleton outfits we got to look spooky together. You can wear costumes to these things. When we check in, the lady at the window stopped and asked what I was doing out of costume. After we chatted for a bit and her showing me a photo, turns out someone who looks just like me works there. I showed her my ID and she laughed at the strangeness of it all. My friend and I thought it was funny too. We joked and chuckled as a rather large group seemed to be following us. We spoke to each other, the oddness that there was a group of over 30 kids whom looked like teens at most here without more adults. It was kind of odd. However, they were pretty chill, so we didn't pay them much mind. Every once in a while, one would run over to us and ask a question, but it was pretty chill. Then Hayride came and we got on board. My friend and I making jokes and such. It was fun, and everyone but me had so much fun at the clown moment. I'm scared of clowns, and the clowns use this to their advantage to have me say the iconic horror line. "He's behind me, isn't he?" And the clown saying stuff like, "We know where you live." All in good fun. And since we knew some people who worked at this attraction and were playing the clowns, they pretty much pulled me around the hayride for kicks. Gotta love having friends who are scaring professionals. After the hayride, my friend and I chatted on which part to do next. Is it just me or are we surrounded?" asked my friend as the group of kids appeared next to us with those couple of adults in tow. "Yeah, escape to the haunted house?" I asked. "Yep," she said, and we ran off trying to get away from the group as neither of us do good with crowds. Funny thing, those kids were fast. They kept up. So we ended up at the haunted house with a group of kids and a couple of adults in tow. And yup, in our group we were put in had a few of the kids who seemed very eager. And yes, questions ensued. My friend and I tried to ignore them. However, this was much harder this time, as they would go the wrong way, try to hit the actors, or, not even sure how, get stuck on the set pieces. As my friend and I knew some of the actors and how hard it is to put on the show, we were doing our best to keep these kids from making a mess of things. It was like babysitting without getting paid, yet with awesome things around. Bright side was no one complained about the fact my friend and I were having fun trying to spook each other out too. I mean, I did disappear at one point of the haunted house as part of a magic act only to jump out from behind a tombstone at the graveyard. Best placement of an exit tunnel ever. After the haunted house, my friend and I got some drinks because we were thirsty and pondered about the bathroom. The kids were still nearby and asking us for permission to do stuff like get drinks, to which we said, why should we care? If you want to, you can. You just have to buy it. So if you don't have any money for it, you can't get it. So we went to the haunted maze. Again, kids from the group were following us. By the time it was our turn, the whole group of kids were in the line with a couple of adults in tow. At this point, I was questioning if those adults even knew how to speak. And true to form, some of the kids were in our group. This wouldn't have been much of a bother if it wasn't for the fact that when things suddenly turned black and completely dark, I was clung to by a screaming girl. That would have been okay if it wasn't for the fact that when she tackled me to cling to me, she got my neck, so she was choking me. So in the middle of the maze, in complete darkness, I'm struggling with this girl who is pretty much hanging on my neck. It would have been funny if I was able to breathe. One of them got the girl off me and I panted for air. Besides that moment, the maze wasn't bad. Yet again, stopping the kids from fighting with the actors. After the maze, my friend and I decided to eat some Halloween foods like their fried Oreos and the pumpkin ice cream. We were sitting as we noticed the kids were waiting for the others. We only noticed this. The kids were getting their after-event snacks or whatever. I was tossing out our trash as the one boy yelled, "I am going to the bathroom," and started to run in my direction, which was towards the bathroom. Terrible design reared its ugly head. I noticed between the trash cans and the bathrooms was the tractor path, and the boy was heading straight for an oncoming tractor. The boy got to me, and I scooped him up as the tractor got to us. I put him down next to me. "Are you insane? Didn't you see the tractor? You could have been hurt. Thank God you're all right. Don't do that again, you hear?" I yelled. The boy stared at me and then thanked me. After the tractor passed, he went to the bathroom. That was when one of the adults came up to me. I was prepared to get chewed out by them for yelling at their kid. "Thank you so much. You really do a good job here. Do I give you a tip or do I give it to your boss?" said the woman. "Excuse me?" I asked, confused. "Tip. You are an excellent guide for our school trip. You even saved one of our students," she said, smiling at me. That was when it dawned on me. The reason the kids kept following us around and asking questions. Sorry, I don't work here. I'm not a guide," I said to the woman. The woman looked at me rather surprised. "What? But you showed the kids around. You answered their questions. The workers grabbed you. They're not allowed to grab us," she said, sounding very confused. I laughed. Yeah. You see, those were my friends. They work here. I don't. So yeah, my friends I know will play along and we would never hurt each other. So yeah, I'm not a guide. Just a friendly person whom didn't want to see anyone get hurt. But if you are their teacher, you should tell them not to pick fights with the people working here. That's an issue. No one wants to get hurt," I said to her. She smiled and walked off to the group. I rejoined my friend and told her what was going on. She got a laugh out of it. We were chilling out for a bit, still drinking some hot cocoa, when the group of kids and adults came over to us and all said thank you together before they left. "Man, I wish my school did trips like this," said my friend. "Me too. Not sure if they really are school, but with that many kids per adult, I sure hope," I replied, before we left and went to enjoy watching Halloween movies for the rest of the night. Next we've got, Superintendent doesn't like to delay or cancel school no matter how bad the conditions. This comes back to end her career. Both my children attended elementary school in the northern Midwest. As you can imagine, it snowed. A lot. Even with all the snow removal infrastructure, when a particularly heavy storm came along, the town just couldn't keep up with it, and the buses couldn't run. For decades, the school district dealt with this by having 5 snow days built into the calendar. If they had more than 5 snow days, the kids would go on extra days at the end of the year. For years, this system worked, and no one ever complained, except the occasional kid that had to attend a couple extra days in June. Well, all good things must eventually come to an end. The old, mild-mannered super retired. A new super took his place. She was young, aggressive, and almost immediately reviled by everyone in the district. Let's call her Sue, because that's what we ultimately did to her. Sue came right out of corporate America. I don't know how she got in her head that she wanted to run a school district, but she did. She was so inexperienced that the school board had to give her a waiver to work in our district before she could even show up for work. When the year started, Sue went on a power trip that made everyone's head spin. She slashed hours for support staff, barred kids from repeating a grade without her personal approval, cracked down on teachers taking sick time until the union pointed out that she was violating the CBA by doing that, backed off a little but vowed to go after any staff taking sick time, stopped the weekly trip to the fitness center by the special needs class. She was like a cartoon villain. But what's important to this story, she ended the decades-old snow day system, took those days right out of the calendar, and said we wouldn't be needing them as she was cracking down on snow days. Here's how snow days work. The transportation department keeps an eye on the roads. If they are unsafe, or even if they are safe but the forecast is looking crazy for later, they tell the super they can't safely run the buses. The super then cancels school. It's really supposed to be the transportation department's call. Well, Sue decided that she is the sole arbiter of deciding cancellations, so even if transportation says it's not safe to run the buses, she can say, "Tough crap," which she did. Often. As you can imagine, this led to a lot of awkward and even dangerous situations. Buses not being able to access rural roads, buses running an hour late, buses running their entire route completely empty because no sane parent would send their kids to school in a whiteout blizzard. For 2 years, we parents tolerated this craziness, but needless to say, we were frustrated. We tried going through the proper channels, contacting the transportation department, writing to the school board. We even wrote a collective letter to Sue personally, who, if the rumor is true, spit on our letter and tossed it in the bin. Though we did get a nice message on the school department website about how they are always thinking about the safety of the students, so that's nice, I guess. Things finally boiled over the winter of that second year. A bus went off the road. Though my kids were not on it, it still shook me up. There were numerous complaints on the school's Facebook from scared and disgruntled parents. 2 years of being the only district open in the country during storms was getting on everyone's nerves. My sister-in-law is a criminal defense attorney. I am a disability advocate with a state agency, so while I'm not an expert on the law like my sister-in-law, I tend to know my way around. We met for dinner and decided that, if and when the inevitable tragedy happened, we would sue. We met a couple more times to work on our game plan. You can't sue a school district for making dumb snow day decisions, but if a kid gets hurt. The day finally came in the late autumn of the third year of Sue. We had a big storm roll through in the early morning hours. Not cold enough to snow or freeze, thankfully, but extremely windy. Most of the county lost power, including the schools. Thousands of outages, power lines down, trees down, roads closed. It was a mess. All the districts in the county closed. All, of course, except ours. Sue was never one to turn down a chance at a power trip. She ordered the schools to stay open. It was a disaster. Buses couldn't access every road to pick up students. Buses were late. Individual schools were putting out bulletins that attendance was parents' choice. Students unable to make it to school would receive a principal's excused absence. Stay home if it's the safer choice. Bear in mind that all the schools were running on generators, so the high schoolers, who start an hour earlier, were sitting in the gymnasium bored. There was literally no point in having school this day. Then the inevitable happened. A tree fell and hit a bus. And this time, my daughter was on it. Thankfully, the driver did a good job of evacuating the kids, and there were only minor injuries. But injuries nonetheless. All because of Sue's absurd no cancellation policy. Some ambulances showed up. 4 kids went to the hospital as a precaution. It made the news. It was time. The district sent forms to all of the parents of the injured kids. They would cover all medical costs and provide counseling for the kids in the guidance office, and a small cash settlement in exchange for the parents signing a release of liability. You can't sue us. But my sister-in-law and I had gotten to the parents first and advised them not to sign anything, as we were taking the district to big boy court. Some of the parents did take the settlement offered, which is understandable since not everyone likes drama, but some didn't. Some told the district right where to shove that settlement. I was one of them. Sister-in-law and I got together with a couple of the injured parents that were sick of the district's nonsense. We got our paperwork in a row and filed a suit. We filed the suit so fast that our hands burst into flames. The essence of the suit was that the district had failed their duty of in loco parentis by making unsafe transportation decisions, directly causing the crash and injuries. My sister-in-law also pulled some strings at the local newspaper and got our lawsuit a small spot on the front page. Parents came out of the woodwork to express their support. They were frustrated after years of Sue's authoritarianism. It turned into a small media circus, and I'm sure some Redditor will Google this and find something. Well, the district's lawyers got to work and quickly realized that this was going to be a mess. A discovery process pulling up dirt, the parents testifying, the general hatred of the district. Not to mention, it appeared that they would, indeed, lose. They moved to quickly and quietly settle the case. They basically sat down with us and said, "Name your price." And while I cannot discuss the details of the settlement, let's just say that all injured parties were made whole. Also, the district changed their cancellation policy immediately. Now, if there was even a hint of snow or icky weather, they canceled. A welcome change of pace. As for Sue, she became very quiet. She used to spend all day sending aggressive emails about her policies. Now, hardly a peep. All she did the rest of the year was fill the seat. As summer approached at the end of the year, Sue announced her resignation. She was leaving to pursue other interests. We think she was asked to resign. She was replaced by a superintendent who was much nicer. He rolled back all of Sue's power-trippy policies. "I don't care if that's your family's most sacred heirloom. Give it to my daughter, who doesn't even want it." When I was 17, I worked as an intern at a jewelry store. I would basically just help customers find jewelry, pay for it, and maintain the register. One Friday night, I was anxious to close because I was going to stay after hours to repair a necklace of mine. It wasn't anything too remarkable to a normal person, just a silver chain with an ebony ring in the center. But the history it had to my family is so important. The story goes that my great-great-great-grandfather, a French woodcarver, created that ebony ring with his own bare hands, carved both his and my great-great-great-grandmother's initials into it, and used it to propose to her. When he went off to war a few years later, he told her to, if he didn't make it back, tie the ring to her favorite silver chain so he could always be near her heart. He never returned, and she kept her promise, and it had since become a family heirloom. But anyways, I was just closing up when Entitled Mom and her actually decent child come in. Me. "Good evening. Welcome to Paris Jewelers. How may I help you?" Entitled Mom.
Cut the small talk. My daughter needs a perfect necklace for her bar mitzvah, and I want to see them now.
I'm slightly put off by her rude tone, but I assume she's just stressed out and go to help her. After looking through all of our best necklaces, she's still not satisfied.
No, no, no! Where's your good jewelry?
"Ma'am, if these selections are not to your liking, I'm sure I can help you find another."
I want that one!
I look to where she's pointing and see that she apparently wants my necklace, which is clearly on my employee desk and not on the display cases. Me. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but that's not for sale. It's actually—"
Don't lie! I want that necklace, so you're going to hand it over.
Me. "Listen, it's an heirloom. My family values it more than anything." Daughter. "Leave her alone, Mom. I can get another—" The mom just dismisses her with a wave of her hand. I'm about to open my mouth in protest, but then my boss walks in. Boss. "Is there a problem, ladies?" Entitled Mom.
Your little jerk of an intern won't give me the necklace I want. She threw it behind the desk, just so I couldn't get it.
Daughter. "Mom, you know that's not what happened. Don't lie about—"
Shush! You're hysterical because this girl is being so mean.
My boss looks at me, then back at the entitled mom and her daughter. He eventually turns back to me. Boss. "Can you please show me the necklace in question?" I go and get my necklace and show it to him. My boss knows that it is important to me, and he turns back to the entitled mom. Boss. "Is this the necklace you wanted?"
Yes.
"Then I'm afraid you're mistaken. This necklace is in fact this young lady's property. Now, please leave, or I will escort you out personally." Entitled mom glares at me, but eventually grumbles and leaves. Before she takes off, however, the daughter says she needs to use the restroom. The mom tells her to hurry up before going to wait. The girl then bursts into tears, apologizing for her mom's behavior and sobbing about how embarrassed she is. My boss and I felt so bad for her that we gave her an inexpensive bracelet for free and said a special mazel tov for her. Poor girl. Wherever you are, I hope you're free from your mother and living your best life. Next we've got, our return policy is 14 days, not 7 years. I've worked at a retail store in Canada for a few years now. We get lots of entitled people attempting to return items that have obviously been worn or trying to haggle the prices. This is the one that stood out the absolute most to me. Typical on mobile apology. So I'm working my shift and hanging the new shipment of orders to be able to put out on the tables when this older lady comes in with her daughter. Anyone who's worked retail knows the look of a customer who's about to ruin your entire day. So I took a long sip of my coffee before putting on my customer service voice. "Hi, how can I help you?" She cut me off while throwing a jacket onto the table. Entitled Mom.
I have a return. The zipper's broke, and I paid a lot of money for this. I bought it for my daughter, and I'd rather get her something new.
Me. Oh, of course. Do you have the receipt with you?
I wasn't aware I needed one. Could you just process the return without one?
Me. Of course. I then noticed that the few years I've worked here, I've never once seen this jacket on our hangers. I looked at it longer and noticed the back tag did indeed say our company's name. Daughter. I'd rather just get cash so I can purchase something I actually like. Me. Sorry, but when was this purchased? Our return policy is 14 days with receipt and in-store credit for up to 30 days after. I've just never seen this jacket on our floor. Entitled Mom.
Are you calling us liars? Look at the tag. Obviously, it's your store's jacket. I can't remember when I purchased it, but the zipper's ruined and clearly wasn't worth buying.
Me. I understand completely. I'm just going to call a higher-up over so they can verify the jacket. Cue the moaning and groaning from the mother and having her repeatedly tell me I clearly can't do my job while I'm desperately waving at my manager. Entitled Mom.
This is ridiculous. Just give me my money so I can buy my daughter something better.
Manager. Hi. So this jacket is actually from our winter collection from a few years ago. We can't take it back as it's been worn.
Are you serious? My daughter's going to freeze now. She needs a better jacket. Give me my money back.
Manager. I'm sorry, but our return policy is 14 days, not 7 years. You don't have a tag to even be able to ring this through. We don't have it in our system, and you don't have a receipt. Sometimes when a jacket gets older, it wears and tears. But it seems your daughter must have gotten a good few years out of it. Daughter.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I take my children here, and you will never have my business again.
Entitled Mom.
No, this is terrible service. It's broken. We deserve compensation. I don't want this. Give me my money back. I want a new jacket. My daughter will freeze without one.
Manager. I'm sorry. We can't accept this as a return. Feel free to look around for a newer jacket, but this is all I can do for you. I hope you have a great day, and I'm sorry we couldn't please you. My manager turns around and starts going back to helping with stock. The entitled pair took this as their best shot at bullying me into giving money back, but I physically couldn't even if I wanted to. No tag and no receipt means there's no barcode to even enter into the system. I just blatantly ignored them and started unpacking another box.
Well, you are ridiculous and should be fired. Ignoring me and refusing a return. This is illegal.
And with that, she grabbed the coat off my stock table. And not just the coat. She grabbed a pair of jeans that were still in the packaging and started darting towards the door with her daughter. I quickly grabbed the phone to ring security in our mall to rush over while my manager ran over to try and block them from leaving. Our mall has a super strict, super stupid policy against grabbing the item back without security there, so the best we could do was block them and follow them. Security managed to grab it back and they were banned from entering our store. Sadly, not the entire mall, but I can still have a smug look on my face when the entitled daughter enters and I can remind her she's not welcome in our store at all because of a wear and tear zipper. Next we've got, a lady screamed in my face for doing my job. As a little backstory, I work in an office supply store in the printing department. We can do all kinds of things from making indoor banners to simply printing a black and white sheet of paper. Our prices are a little high, and we have an express fee for doing a job within the hour. Now, onto the story. At this point, I had been working at the store for nearly a year now, and I knew the ins and outs of the printing department. If you have a question, I know the answer. We were getting ready to close up shop about 20 minutes before close. At this point, a lot of my machines are turned off, and a lot of the jobs dropped off are to be completed the next morning. A woman comes in to pick up her order, and I happily give it to her. The job hasn't been completed by me, but by a fellow coworker. I was just handing it off. The woman looks at it, confused. She said it was supposed to be mounted, which is laminating it onto a 24 by 36 foam board. I check her order ticket, and no, there was no instructions for it to be mounted. So I inform her of such and tell her I'll do it for her and quote her a price. It was definitely expensive, so I offered a cheaper option. She can find a foam board and do it herself. She seemed pleased and walked away when I told her where they were. Think that's the end? Oh no, this isn't a happy ending. After about 2 minutes, she approaches the front. I was speaking to my manager about something, and she asked where they were a second time. I confirm with my manager and point her in that direction. My mistake for not taking her back to look. When she came back up, she was angry. She got in my face to scream,
It's not back there.
I have an anxiety disorder, and when people yell at me, it makes my anxiety go in a whirlwind. So I got quiet and squeaked out a, "Really?" while my coworker checks her out for the other items. My manager and other coworker were standing there while she screamed at me. At some point, my manager left as he didn't want to deal. I don't blame him. She was saying things like she understood why we had no customers. Remember, it's about 10 minutes before close now. And she'd tell all her friends to never come here as our customer service was awful. My heart was racing and I couldn't catch my breath. As she left, my coworker sarcastically called to her to have a nice day. As soon as she was gone, I broke. I started blubbering like a baby, hyperventilating, trying to hide my face. My coworkers were awesome, trying to calm me and make me laugh. The woman eventually got comped for her order and was happy. I, however, will never forget the way she screamed in my face. Next we've got Entitled Dad Leaves His Kids in the Lobby While He Goes to See a Movie. I work in a big movie theater that has 9 theaters and 2 bars. Up to a certain time, we're family friendly. Kids 4 to 14 are allowed to come with their parents, and kids 15 to 17 can come by themselves. However, after 8 p.m., we stop running the kids' movies, and only kids 15 to 17 can come with their parents. One of the reasons for this is because there is a bar people hang out at. I'm working in one of the theaters playing Joker for the 9:15 showing, and a single, ticket-wise, guy came in and took his seat. I checked his ticket. Cool, he's good to go. About 10 minutes in, my manager comes in the station and points to this guy's seat on our seating chart. We've got manager and entitled dad. Manager: That's a guy on his own, right? Me: Yup. Why? What's up? He just dropped his 3 kids off in the bar area because they're too young to see Joker. Basically, this dude had 3 kids. One was 12, the others roughly 10 and 7. Tried to get them all into Joker, but was told by our ticketer that they were too young. So he just left them there and went in by himself. According to manager, now the kids were wrecking the lobby and bar, knocking over our cardboard cutouts and screaming and whatnot. We go into the theater and manager kneels down by entitled dad and politely and quietly tells him he can't leave the kids in our bar or lobby. Entitled dad:
The oldest is 12. He can watch them.
Manager: Sir, after 8, our age cutoff is 14, and they still need a parent with them. Entitled dad, not at all trying to be quiet:
Well, that's stupid. This is supposed to be a family-friendly neighborhood.
Manager: That's just our policy, and your kids are causing a disturbance at our bar. You need to get them now. Entitled dad:
I'm watching a movie. Man, just send them to the park across the street.
Wow, what a great father. At this point, manager backs up and radios for security, who is this big, scary-looking guy who's naturally actually a big teddy bear. But he shows up, and when entitled dad sees him, he leaves without causing a scene. He muttered some crap about us and how we were going to lose all of our business because we don't cater to parents, blah, blah, blah. All in all, not super dramatic like some on here. I just thought he was a terrible parent. As note, there have been a couple of robberies in the park across the street lately, so sending your kids over there at night is extra bad. Next we've got, no anniversary gift? I'm calling the cops. I love my mom, and it's taken me a while, and reading a lot of the posts here, to realize I have things to post here too. This happened in August 2017. I had been busy with work for several weeks, and I forgot to send a card or gift to my mom for her and my stepdad's anniversary. However, on the date of the event, I sent text messages and pics, wishing them all the best, and figured that would suffice and Mumsy would understand. Apparently, she did not. The next day was a Sunday, and I had been super exhausted from several weeks of working 10 to 12-hour days, so I skipped church and opted to sleep in with my phone's ringer turned off. I finally woke up around 1 p.m. and decided to just bum around the house. My hubby was super understanding and agreed to make food runs as needed so I wouldn't have to cook or anything. I happened to grab my phone to text a friend of mine and noticed that it was ringing, so I answered it. The person on the other end identified himself as a state trooper and notified me that I was about to be visited by local police for a welfare check. Very confused, I asked him why and who would need to be checking up on me, as my husband was in the same room with me and I was clearly okay because I answered the phone. The state trooper politely just asked me to answer the door and comply with the policeman's requests and to have a photo ID ready for verification purposes. About 20 minutes later, a local policeman shows up at my door and asks me to show my photo ID. I complied, and he asked me why I hadn't called my mother recently. I couldn't help myself from replying that I had been busy and, oh yeah, I was just shy of my 43rd birthday for Pete's sake. He stated that she had contacted several levels of law enforcement within my state. She's in another state, nearly 1,200 miles away, by the way, which is why he was dispatched to my home. I thanked him for his follow-up. Not his fault he was there after all, and promised to call my mom. He left. I went back in my house, and looking at my phone, I noticed that I had 32 missed calls in the span of 2 hours. What the heck? My voicemail was completely full. I decided to call my mom before even listening to the voicemails for fear another cop would get dispatched to my residence. I called mom and asked if she was okay. She didn't even say hello. She just blurted out,
I didn't get an anniversary gift from you, so I assumed you were dead.
I couldn't help but reply, sorry to disappoint. I asked her if she had gotten my text messages wishing her a happy anniversary, and she just said,
Oh yeah, I don't check my phone that much.
but she used it to call me repeatedly and to harass several different law enforcement agencies 5 states away. I politely advised her that I felt it would have been more appropriate for her to have received an anniversary gift from her husband than her daughter, and if she felt the gift was lacking, she should take it up with him. I hung up before she could respond and ignored the rest of her calls and texts that day. I finally listened to the voicemails. As I expected, the more voicemails she left, the angrier they sounded. Not full of concern, not worried that something was legitimately wrong, not even a trace of alarm for my well-being. No, just angrier and angrier that she thought I was ignoring her. She had left 8 voicemails, before one from a state trooper advising me they would make one more attempt to reach me before alerting local police. Then mom left 2 more after that before my voicemail was full. None of my mom's voicemails indicated that she had contacted authorities to hunt me down. The last 4 mentioned not sending any anniversary present and were the most angry sounding. That was over 2 years ago, and it's taken me a little time to move past it. Now it's a running joke between us, and every time I get her voicemail instead of her, I simply leave this message. Hi mom, it's me. I'm just calling you so you don't call the cops, and hang up. Whenever she returns the call, I like to answer with, still not dead. But she doesn't find that as funny as I do, which is why I do it. Next we've got, destroyed a tow company with one simple phone call. Several years back, I went to work for a towing company. It's about all I know how to do other than paint cars, which is drastically affecting my health. The pay was pretty decent, but we had to share trucks, and the boss felt that he knew where we needed to sit in order to get the best calls. This is important for later. Several months in, I realized that I was not making the type of money that I should be making. So I took the opportunity while I was sitting in a parking lot one evening to start researching the laws pertaining to employees in similar positions. He was kind of a jerk, and the trucks had transponders so that he could see if we had them idling with the air conditioner on a hot day or idling with the heat on during a cold day. He was always calling, complaining about something if the wheels were not turning. During my research, I discovered that if he was requiring us to sit in a certain parking lot, street, or any location of his choosing, then we were entitled to be paid an hourly wage, not just our commission. The technical term was engaged to wait. However, if he allowed us to freely roam about while we waited for calls, we were not entitled to hourly wages, and we were therefore considered waiting to be engaged. I never mentioned this to him, but I did start taking note of my time. Another month or so goes by, and he decided to start coming down on me for tiny little things that ordinarily wouldn't even matter, such as I forgot a pop can in the cup holder. He actually had a screaming fit about that. At this point, I was tired of working there and had already found another job, so I decided it was time to put my plan into motion. I called him up, told him that we needed to have a conversation about my final wages and that we could meet at his convenience. Upon entering the office, I laid out my argument, explained the state law, and told him I expected to be paid for the hours that I was on the clock, but not freely allowed to roam looking for work or able to do things of my choosing. He told me in no uncertain terms that I would not be paid for that time, as that was agreed to upon my employment. I did not bother to argue, as I already had my next step planned, so I took my final check and I left. The following Monday, I made a phone call to the State Labor Board where I laid out my case to them. Needless to say, they were very interested in what was going on. In the end, they came to review his employment records and speak to the drivers still working. When he got the bill of what he had to pay us all, it was too much for him to afford, so he sold the trucks, his boat, and lot and went out of business. I never got the money owed to me in full, only a fraction, but the satisfaction of knowing the law just a little bit better than he did and watching it all burn was pure bliss. Next we've got entitled parent forces her son on his birthday to do a painting just like her, then ruins it and makes him start over. Backstory. For my 12th birthday, I went to an art place to paint the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. This place usually serves alcohol during sessions, but there is a family-friendly room in the back with lessons for people under 21. Bonus points for whoever can guess the place. Hint, it's in California. Now we meet the cast. We've got Karen. We've got the sad kid. We've got my mom. We've got me. We've got random people 1 and 2, and the instructor. I walk into the place, and the receptionist takes us to the family room where the session was. The entire session is family-friendly. No split classes here. I pick a canvas and sit down next to my mom because she was painting too. The canvas had a light sketch of the Cheshire Cat on it already. I wait a few minutes because we got there early, and in walks Karen and Sad Kid. I forgot how old he was, probably 8 to 10. Sad Kid is pretty happy right now, but sadly folks, that will change in about 3 hours. They both take the canvases across from us and sit down. A few more minutes pass and everyone is here, about 12 people, and the class starts. The instructor tells us all the basic things about the paint, but another thing you need to remember is that the black paint is irreversible. That is also important. Instructor told us to paint the background first and try to keep the inside of the sketch clear of paint until later for the best results. So I start to paint the background. It was red on the bottom, fading to a yellow on the top. Karen, though, starts to paint the cat first. Sad Kid starts to paint the background as instructed, but Karen decided that,
You are my son, and you have to do the same thing as me.
she made him put his paintbrush down and take a time out. Who in their right mind? I mean, come on. Instructor heard Karen yelling at him and came over. The conversation came as followed. Instructor, is everything okay over here?
Yes, everything is fine. He just isn't listening to me. That's all.
Me, trying to mind my own business, but kind of looking at them. Karen gives me a dirty look.
What are you looking at? Mind your own business.
Me, I had and still do have social issues and can't deal with stuff like this. I'm sorry, ma'am. Instructor tells Karen, please calm down. There is no right or wrong in painting. Everyone does things differently. Hands Sad Kid his paintbrush. Sad Kid, thank you. Karen takes paintbrush again.
No, he's in timeout until he can learn to listen to me.
Instructor, I'm sorry, but if you carry on like this, ma'am, you're going to have to leave. You're disturbing the other painters.
Fine.
Probably thinking about how she paid for this lesson, slides paintbrush to sad kid. About an hour passes and some people have finished their background. Karen has finished her cat now too. Instructor tells us what to do for the cat for the best results. Paint color first, then do black outline. Keeps you from messing up right away with the black. We start to do that, and sad kid has picked a perfect color scheme. It goes amazing with the background. Important later, trust me. Karen, on the other hand, chose clashing colors. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. She might just like it like that. But it's not something you would want to hang up in a house. Karen is huffing and is being very open to her being jealous of her son's skills. Another half hour goes by, and almost everybody is done with their coloring. Instructor tells us how to do the black outline. We have to be very precise about it. Sad kid starts doing it, but then Karen can't take it anymore. She dips her paintbrush in black paint, yells out, and starts scribbling all over his hours worth of hard work, ruining it. Everyone was in shock. Instructor comes over and loses her crap. Karen does the same, and random people 1 and 2 have to break it up because they started to full-on scream. Then Karen had the actual nerve to hug her son and say,
I'm so sorry she is being this nasty on your birthday. The audacity.
Okay, I'm not even done. Sad kid yells out, No! You're the one ruining my birthday! Everyone goes quiet. It seriously felt like something out of a drama movie. Sad kid bursts into tears. Instructor takes his canvas and gives him one of the spares. I am so glad they had some. And she sat next to him the entire rest of the class and helped him finish. Oh my gosh, I was just a bystander with only a little interaction, but that experience was awful. Sad kid, if you somehow are reading this, I wish you the best. And Karen, if you are somehow reading this, forget you. Next we've got Entitled Mom Goes to a Wedding. This was a few years back now at my friend's wedding. I was one of her bridesmaids. The other bridesmaid was a girl about 4 who was the daughter of a family friend. Cast. We've got Entitled Mom, the family friend. We've got Entitled Kid 1, the daughter and the other bridesmaid. We've got Entitled Kid 2, the son, about 5 or 6. We've got friend, and we've got my boyfriend, now husband. The first time I met Entitled Mom was on Friends Hindu. We had organized for us to go to a certain chocolatey attraction in the UK, followed up by a pole dancing class. Entitled Mom wanted to bring Entitled Kid 1 with her. I thought this was weird, seeing as it was an adult Hindu, but Entitled Mom said friend would be pleased to see Entitled Kid 1. I ran it past friend's mom, who knew the family, and it was agreed Entitled Kid 1 could come, but would have to leave before our class, because, that would be inappropriate. This meant having to rearrange the coach to pretty much take us back to our pickup point post-chocolate to drop Entitled Kid 1 off and waste almost an hour in the process. It was annoying, but friend's mom thought it was fine, so I went with what she thought, seeing as Entitled Mom was their friend, not mine. Anyway, onwards to friend's wedding day. The bridal party are all getting ready in friend's hotel room. Entitled Mom had both of her entitled kids with her. They aren't too bratty at this point, just being kids fed up watching adults getting hair and makeup done. Entitled Mom kept sending them over to me to keep them occupied while she chats to friend. Again, annoying, but not a major problem. Anyway, the evening comes around and it starts to go downhill. Friend didn't have a seating plan, so boyfriend and I chose to sit at a table with my parents, whom friend had also invited. I haven't really had much chance to interact with them because of bridesmaids' duties, and I'm quite tired by this point, so it was nice to take the opportunity to relax and unwind. Oh, how wrong I was. This is an entitled parent story. Cue Entitled Mom and her husband deciding to come share the table with us. Both kids are bored while waiting for food and the DJ. Entitled Mom and her husband are more interested in getting drunk, so again, they keep sending the kids back to me. I'm tired and just want to rest for a bit before the dancing starts, but these kids keep dragging me up to play every time I try to take a break. Boyfriend gets up with me to try to help me out. Eventually, we get fed up of playing with these kids that neither of us really knows, so we go stand in the smoking area. Neither me nor boyfriend are smokers, but it was the only way to stop the kids from following us. When we feel we've had enough relief, we head back in. In our absence, the kids had been at the sweet trolley like it was going out of fashion, and the sugar rush hit hard. They were transformed into some unholy combination of a banshee and a Duracell bunny. They no longer talked, they screeched. Back to them dragging me and boyfriend out of our seats to play. Except now it was like playing with hyper lion cubs. They were wild. I kept looking back to the table with pleading eyes, but entitled mom was busy burying her face in our wine glass. My parents are also uncomfortable, but none of us want to make a scene at friend's wedding. Boyfriend and I didn't get many chances to dance together, so we are trying to enjoy ourselves on the dance floor. These little horrors keep dragging us apart. They were now uncontrollable. Both of them are messing with my dress. This dress was quite revealing, and due to an error with the dressmaker, was a bit too big, so I had to use body tape to hold it in place. With Entitled Kid 1 yanking on the front, it hurt. I later had blisters, which I can assure you is not pleasant. Boyfriend tries to fend off the horde in an effort to save my dignity. They then round on him and try to pull his trousers down. Remember, Entitled Mom is literally feet away, well aware of what's going on, but does nothing except order more booze. I'm still desperately trying to keep the fuss down so it doesn't spoil friend's day. Boyfriend and I head back to the table in the last desperate hope that Entitled Mom or her husband might finally control their animals. The final straw came when Entitled Kid 2 had worked himself into such a frenzy that he tries to pull my hair and hit me across the face. My dad is normally a quiet man, but he had well and truly had enough of this circus and simply put his hand across my face and boomed, "That's enough." I know it's a social faux pas to tell someone else's kids off, but by this point we were all sick of it. The kids go wide-eyed and scuttle behind Entitled Mom. Entitled Mom shot us a filthy glare, summoned her husband, and brewed and promptly left. I also noticed Entitled Mom had written in friend's guest book. Normally people put down congratulations to the new couple, wish them happiness, etc. Nope, Entitled Mom had to make it about them and had written a thank you to friend for making Entitled Kid 1's big day special. Sure. I later found out from friend that Entitled Mom had bitterly complained to her about us, to which friend said, "She was my bridesmaid, not your free babysitter. What did you expect?" There's a lot of people commenting that we should have said something sooner, / not been doormats. Admittedly, we probably did let it go on for far too long. We were a bit naive back then, and under a different setting, we probably wouldn't have let it escalate to that point. We were very conscious of not ruining friend's day. She had spoken quite highly of this family, and said repeatedly how cute we were together as bridesmaids, so I really didn't want to cause drama for her, which was what happened when Entitled Mom complained about us afterwards. How dare we tell off her angels? We ruined their night. They were so embarrassed that they couldn't stay, etc. I didn't worry though, because friend has my back. She's a good friend. Edit 2. Some of the comments are asking why I allowed them to pull up my clothes and hit me. I can't remember for sure, but I think when we got up to dance, we were told the kids were done playing and now they had to sit with Entitled Mom or something to that effect. Probably nowhere near firmly enough. We were then ignoring them so as not to reward them for more attention. When they grabbed at me, it was all very sudden and caught me off guard because I really wasn't expecting it. So we walked away. Same thing with the hitting. I was ignoring Entitled Kid 2, so I didn't see what he was about to do. So Karen, what did you think of today's stories?
They were horrible.
Horrible? How dare you? These were some of the best we've ever read.
Oh, shut up, Mr. Reddit. It's ridiculous what people like myself have to go through. Dealing with stupid people like yourself and your subscribers.
Look, Karen, you can say whatever you want about me, but don't you talk about my re-army.
Re-army. Most of your viewers aren't even subscribed to your channel. 70% if I'm correct.
Well, I can't argue with that. That's true. Most of my viewers don't actually subscribe for some reason.
It's because you're stupid, Mr. Reddit.
No, I'm not. Alright guys, let's prove Karen wrong by making sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn on notifications.
They're not going to listen to you.
And if you'd like me, or Karen,
What?
to record a special message for you, come visit me on Fiverr, link pinned in the comments below.
Never.
And join as a channel member today, and Karen will give you a special shout out in the next video.
Like heck I will.